As the Premier League returns after a FA Cup break, Liverpool seem almost certain to become Premier League champions, and the gap at the bottom is widening as we enter the final 10 games of the season. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. Premier League Run-Up Show back. Sean, how are we, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I can't complain too much.
Good stuff. Michael in the chat, you well. Man United Arsenal finish 1-1. We can, if we beat the Geordies, we can go up to 13th.
Exciting.
13th.
Exciting stuff.
Usual suspect. Thanks for joining us. Hope you are well. Now we're going to start at the City Ground. Now, I was thinking about this earlier. I don't think we've given enough airtime and recognition to Nottingham Forest for what they've done this season. Pretty remarkable at that, as they once again go win at home against the champions Manchester City. Find themselves third, Sean, 4 points off second. Pretty remarkable.
Yeah, can't fault them at all, and I'm going to try my hardest not to put a negative spin on it because, but I probably will. I think we said a month or two ago, I wonder out of those of Bournemouth, it'd be nice if at least one of them hung on for a European spot.
Yeah,
because it sort of given me a little bit Leicester vibes, a little bit of Forest what they're doing. Like, struggled last year, like Leicester did the year before they won the league. I know they're not going to win the league, but sort of benefiting from a lot of teams underachieving, but you can't knock them. Like, even against City, I think a lot of us are kind of half expecting City to go on a little run. That's not materialised. They've got a fight on their own hands to get in the top four. I still think they'll get top four, but the doubts keep creeping back in. I think, have I read that they lost like 7 games this season, I think?
That's crazy. Well,
And
I mean, they sit still 2 points off the Champions League spots, and it feels like they've been a lot worse than that. But I suppose that's a standard we've just set for Man City, isn't it?
Yeah. But Forest, they keep digging in. They're very, very good at home. I think the goal was another Edison mistake. I don't know if City going to look at chopping him at the end of the season or not. But I think there's a bit of a broader subject. I think there's a lot of clubs in the Premier League who will be looking at a new keeper in the summer. I even think Liverpool are getting a new one, aren't they? What's his name? Is it Cardiashvili or something like that?
Right, okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's coming, and he expects to be number one. I'm sure. I don't know what happened with Alisson. He obviously won him the game in Paris the other night.
I was going to say he was pretty brilliant on Wednesday. Wasn't he?
And obviously is it Kelleher? I'm always bad at pronouncing that one. He's going to go somewhere. I'm sure your lot are going to be linked to him.
We've been looking at him.
Yeah. Like I know we've gone off track from the game a little bit, but I think City might have a look at a keeper. I know he's like one of those eccentric keepers, isn't he? Like, typical Brazilian keeper, quite eccentric. Edison, incredible with his feet. It's a bit like having Trent Alexander-Arnold in goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's brilliant at doing stuff he shouldn't really have to do, but sometimes with the basics, I think he's made a few errors this year. But yeah, back to the keeper subject. Like, I'll be amazed if you're not looking for a new number one.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle probably will. I think Chelsea, I'll be surprised if they're not looking. They're going to buy a new keeper every single season, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And City, and if Liverpool, I don't know. It's going to be, the keeper thing is going to be a strange one in the summer. I think Man United, do you know what I mean? Are they going to give Onana a third season? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. So we've gone off topic a bit, but I was about Edison, really. Like, will they be good for lots of teams looking for new keepers? But Forest, got a soft spot for Forest a little bit, purely because I'm a bit of a Brian Clough nerd. You're obviously a bit young for Brian Clough, but if you just go on YouTube and listen to these sort of ex-players that probably earn a fortune going around doing these shows talking about Brian Clough stories, it's always entertaining. And if you haven't seen the Damned United film, have you seen that?
No.
That's probably one of the best football films there is out there. That's well worth a catch and a watch. That's very, very good. Michael Sheen, the actor, he does a lot of stuff. He plays Brian Clough very well. So from that, I've got a little bit of a time of Forest from my time of growing up. We beat Forest in the cup final in '91. That's the first major trophy I can remember Tottenham winning. I grew up a Bristol City fan, home and away, and they beat Bristol City in the League Cup semi-final. I think it was '89. So I got all these little weird. I'm that sort of person. My brain ties things in a little bit. Yeah. So I got a bit of a soft spot for Forest, and I would just love to see him like back in the European Cup. I just think that's a cool little story. So I really do hope they hang in there. I would hate for like Chelsea and City to bump them out of it. I don't think either of them deserve it. One of them probably will get in there, but
yeah, I prefer
I
City to
do
get Champions League and Chelsea to drop down. That's what I prefer.
Yeah. Chelsea, I don't know if we're doing Chelsea tonight, but that was another fan base that were protesting the other day, wasn't it? It's like,
I saw that.
I was like, and no one could really work out what they were actually protesting about, because the new owner spent another fortune. They European champions 3 seasons ago, whatever it was. They ain't got a lot to moan about, really. But yeah, I would hate Chelsea to go and knock Forest out of their spot. So let's hope Forest hang on. The only downside of Forest hanging on, although, am I right in saying there's 5 places Champions League this year? Probably.
Is it? I thought it was only 4. Is it 5? Is it?
Well, it was always 4, but they brought in the thing where you get, there's like a league table for how many points you get from your teams to win in Europe. Remember? And I've got a feeling that we're doing very, very well in that. So I've got a funny feeling it might be 5.
Yeah, I'd love to see him get Champions League. I've got a soft spot for a different reason. I love going to the City Ground. It's the best atmosphere in the Premier League by an absolute country mile. Nobody gets close to the atmosphere of the City Ground, and it's a great place to go. It's a tough place to go. As many teams have found out this year, and as Pep Guardiola found out yesterday afternoon. And I do hope, as Sean said, they cling on to that to one of those Champions League spots, because they definitely deserve that over some of the others. And it's just been remarkable what they've done this season. Hung on for survival last season. It's got so many, not quite on the scale, but it's got so many similarities to what Leicester did. Hung on the season before and find themselves, as Leicester did, in a Champions League spot. Of course, Leicester went on to win it, but find themselves in a Champions League spot with 10 games to go. I mean, you just said this at the start of the season, Sean. Forest in the Champions League spot, City battling for a Champions League spot, Man United in the bottom half of the table, Spurs in the bottom half of the table. I mean, it's just been obscene. It's been absolutely obscene, but there we are.
That's one word for it, mate. It's definitely one word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's take some of your comments, see what you guys are saying. Massive game tomorrow and a chance to move up the table. Yeah, it would be nice. It's going to be an interesting test at home to Newcastle, a side that probably won't be wanting to put in too many tackles ahead of their cup final in a couple of weeks' time. So I can imagine they won't be too engaged in it, and you can't really blame them, can you? Jay, thanks for joining us. Hope you're well. Josh has got mocks for a couple of weeks, so he is prioritising revision, which is very wise of him. So he will rejoin us next week. Sean?
Got a question for you, Jake, on the West Ham game quickly.
Yeah.
What do you want from... You just basically... not confirm. You suggested what Newcastle might or might not do. What do you want from... I know someone said a big game and we could move up the table. How many games are left in the league? There's not loads of games. What do you want to see?
10 left, yeah.
What do you want to see from Potter and the team and in the remaining? Are you that bothered about results? Is it more about a performance? Is it more about seeing a bit of identity form? Because I know some games you said we spotted some identity, then the week later you look like a team that's never seen each other. And also new manager, you're probably going to have to make a lot of changes in the summer, so maybe this is a good spell for the manager. Nothing to play for, let's be honest. It does not give a crap where we finish 14th or 10th. It doesn't matter a jot. Like, same as my team. I couldn't care less whether they finished 9th or 14th. I don't care one bit. So we've mentioned this in the past. If other teams are looking for new manager, I said you've got a free hit to look at the squad. He's got a proper look at players he doesn't rate, players that don't suit his style. So I don't know, as a fan with these last, you say 10 games left, what are you bothered what you see, or would you just really hope to see that they're building for next season? Because this season, let's be honest, this season is dead for about 15 teams in this Premier League already.
Absolutely. No, it's a good question. I'd echo what you said in terms of identity. That's what we want to see. A bit of progression. He's already hinted that there's going to be quite a few leaving in the summer, and he's going to be bringing in a few. So that's been a theme in quite a few of the summer transfer windows, which isn't a good sign. Want to see a bit of attacking football, want to see some good performances, and we want to see some structure. That Arsenal game last week all but confirmed any slight chance of relegation. That was never going to happen. It's now a glorified pre-season. He's got 10 games to look at what he's got there and then decide in terms of players like Cresswell, who slotted in really well in a protected left centre-back role and in a back five. Can't believe I'm saying that in 2025 for Aaron Cresswell, but there we are. And he's got a real chance to have a good look at some players. Listen, we've got indications of players that he's just going to get out the door straight away. Rodriguez, probably Danny Ings. He's given indications of that through, putting square pegs in round holes to not play them in that sense. And I think he's just got to look at the players that he's really interested in there and decide. There's stuff going on with Paqueta that's completely above and beyond Potter's control. Whether he'll play next season for West Ham is another matter. But I think he's got to have a good look at the squad and make a decision and be clear in his head going into the summer of what he wants. But from our point of view, just want to see some good performances. We've still got to go to Liverpool and Man United away. Give them a good game up there. I mean, I can't believe I'm not really putting them in the same category, but go to the big sides, give them a game. Play. All right,
I've got three questions for you then, quickly on West Ham. Seeing as you're not covering West Ham, I'm giving you a little chance to talk about yourself.
Go on then.
Three quick questions. A player that's come back in, who I don't think is good enough for you, and probably isn't, but he has done well. What would you do with Ward-Prowse going forward?
I think he'll keep him, and I would keep him as well as a player that's not going to play every week, who's going to be solid. And listen, he's a 7 out of 10 player every week. He's not going to go out there and change a game and win a game. He's 7 out of 10 every week. He puts his foot on the ball, he passes it nicely. And sometimes I think he's a player that we sort of need in there. I understand why we got rid of him, but Potter's been very clear in getting him back. He will stay this summer.
Okay, I think you're generous saying the 7, but anyway, the quick second question: is it time to move Paqueta on? Do you think it's just the right time?
Well, we might be forced to move Paqueta on in terms of what happens in the next few weeks in terms of the betting thing, but we've looked quite good without him in the last few weeks when he hasn't been there. So dependent on the betting situation, I think it would be a wise time, if that's cleared and he's deemed, which I don't think he will, to be honest, if he's deemed for no wrongdoing and we could get 40 million quid for him, I would take it.
Quick final one. This is just a hunch and I just wonder what you think on it. Do you envisage maybe Kudos maybe one of the leave in the summer? Do you see that on the horizon?
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think he'll go in the summer. How much we'll get for him, I don't know. But
think he'll force to move a little bit? Is he then one of them types? Do you think?
I think he's looked slightly disinterested this season, I'll be honest, and he hasn't been anywhere near where he was the season before. Forcing the move, I'm not sure, but I think he will move on this summer. That was a cool little quick fire West Ham quiz.
Yeah, all right, mate. I thought I'd give you a little moment.
Thank you. Aren't you nice? Generosity, see. Right, let's take some of your comments. Michael says, Champions League spot, 5 Champions League spots, but we could have 7 teams if the English team wins the Champions League and the Europa. If you can make sense of that, then because I'm a little bit confused, to be honest. But Michael, thanks for that. Bailey, the Villa, good win for us. We're not covering Villa this week, but another win for Unai Emery's men. More attacking football is what needed. Attacking football depends on the injuries you have. I'd like to see a consistent identity which we can build upon. Absolutely, that is for sure. Right, let's scroll down. Darren says, I'm guessing that it will be the same team tomorrow with only 2 attacking players. Listen, I don't think he'll change it now. I think he'll keep it as it is. He played a back 5 in our last game and it's worked. I think, listen, it wasn't great against Leicester, but I think he'll stick with it. I'll be honest. Moyes had a great system for playing during COVID, but couldn't find the players to build on that or continue it. It's funny for West Ham because we've got 2 games this month and they come in the space of 5 days with Newcastle on Monday and Everton on Saturday. But that's enough about West Ham, and let's move on to our second game. 14 minutes in, we're doing well. Brighton 2, Fulham 1 at the Amex. 2 sides which we don't really cover too often, so I thought we'd talk about them on a quiet week, Sean. Fulham and Brighton are Brighton, really, aren't they?
Yeah, we spoke a minute ago about a couple of teams flying and loads of teams just for whatever reason not doing it, and they've just been kind of what we expected, really. Like I had a little check on the league table before I come on. Like this. For a rare occasion, I watched a bit of Soccer Saturday yesterday. Yeah. And Clinton Morrison was doing this game, and he said, I think there's 1 point separated before the game. And I think the winner went in like the 97th minute or something like that. They've just been what you'd expect. And I think fans of both of these clubs would probably be happy with it. Do you know what I mean? Because maybe Fulham more than Brighton. I expect Fulham fans have always got one little eye on a struggling season.
Yeah.
And Brighton maybe been a bit spoilt, but I don't know. Are they both sort of lingering around the UEFA, like the UEFA
Well, I mean, to be
conference?
fair, I think I've undercooked Brighton there. To be honest, I didn't realise how high they actually are. They are 6th point off Man City, Brighton, this season now. Played the same amount of games, so I mean they're in a Europa spot currently. Obviously, a point between Villa have played an extra game and are a point below Brighton. So I think I've slightly undercooked Brighton there, but yeah, they're in a decent position for Europe.
You mentioned Villa, and I read this. They won the weekend, Villa, didn't they? I can't even.
Yeah, it was 1-0. Yeah.
Who did they beat? I don't remember.
I can't actually remember. I think they won. I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna write
Ipswich? No.
They beat Brentford by a goal to 0.
I know Villa have had this Champions League sort of season, but they've got their fans have got to be a little bit disappointed with the league as well. Surely,
so,
we did expect them to have a little drop off because of Europe, but even so,
and you've seen that direct correlation with with the playing on Sunday. It's happened every time, apart from this one. Every single time they've played on a Wednesday, they've lost on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So after Europe, we had it. They've had that hangover again, and that's affected them massively.
It's a bit of a broader subject again. I think we mentioned ages ago about too much football being played and there being like an overlap, a build-up. I think we said before, it was like, didn't we have a World Cup, a Euros, then the Euros was put back a year, so it went back to back. You're chucking in African nations, Asia Cups. You probably know players have only got a 2-week break. I think last season, Tottenham and a few others, even after the final game of the season, they went on a friendly to the other side of the world before they went on pre-season. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be something said for the build-up of fatiguing players. And we knew Villa would struggle a little bit. But when you look how poor some of the other teams have done, I'd probably be a little bit disappointed as a Villa fan that they couldn't be a bit higher, like at least in the top 5 again. But they're still there and thereabouts. Brighton, like you said, probably done a little bit better what you'd expect, but they're probably roughly where, bear in mind, too many have dropped off. They're kind of done what we'd expect, really. But this is an example of the league again. I can't even remember Brighton doing amazing to be as high as 6th.
No, I didn't think they were that high up, to be honest.
I'm sounding like such a moaning old man, aren't I? The last one, most of the season, but how many? Little question off track again. How many teams, fan bases, do you think this season would be genuinely really, really happy right now? Forget Newcastle might win a cup now because I've got.
Let's go through it then. So let's go through it. So Liverpool, they'll be happy.
All right, I've got a number in my head, and we'll stop at that. Go on.
Okay, so Liverpool are happy, Arsenal aren't, Forest are happy.
Yeah, 2.
Chelsea aren't, City aren't, Brighton are probably happy, 3. Villa aren't, Bournemouth are happy.
I've got 3. Brentford I might give you. Keep going down, see if you can add to 3 or 4.
Fulham, no, that's just the same. Palace, just the same. Tottenham, Man United. Everton, no.
They're having a bit of a lift, aren't they?
They've had a lift, haven't they? So maybe you could put in Everton. So what's that? 4 tops.
We've got a lot of unhappy fan bases, and they've all got different reasons. But the leagues, I know we're still the number 1 league in Europe, and we'll probably go on and have one of our teams win the Champions League. Well, we've only got Liverpool left, haven't we? Really? Well, Arsenal maybe, but it's a funny league, and I haven't known what to make of it, to be honest. There's not many people are buzzing about it. Let's put it like that. Yeah. But I got three or 4 fan base would probably go and think we've had a mint season. Do you know what I mean? But it's been really good. We've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just been so inconsistent.
Liverpool, Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth, and that's it for me. 4. Yeah.
I think teams like Brentford, their fans are probably buzzing because they're little old Brentford. So when even if Bournemouth say finish 5th from bottom, I probably think they're still on that crest of the wave where they think bloody hell, we're in what we do in the Premier League. But you know as well as me, after a certain couple of seasons, you get that arrogance just come over you. Hang on. So if they go down, they'll be booing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It'll be so they'll enjoy it whilst they're there, but it won't take long for these little clubs to think they belong there. It just doesn't. But yeah, it's been a weird season. There's not been many people buzzing about it. Even Newcastle, if they lose in this cup final,
It's a poor season.
They'll call it a terrible season. Do you know what I mean? It's been strange, and I don't know if what's gonna improve next year. But it has been even I said about Liverpool. They were, I think, don't know if we're doing them in a minute, but they weren't great for an hour
against Southampton. Yeah,
and they had a couple of decisions went their way. Southampton maybe had one go their way a little bit, but no team has been massively convincing. You'd have to say Nuno would go down as the manager of the season if I was picking someone.
Oh, absolutely. So would I. Yeah, 100%. They'll give it to Slot, but I'd give it to I give it to Nuno by country mile.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you now.
Right, we will go straight to today's games. We will go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 2, Brentford 2. Now, one of those teams we were just discussing, probably thinking they had, or they've had a good season. Well, they have had a good season, no doubt about it, in Bournemouth. A point on the road at Tottenham. Now, we were talking about that arrogance just a minute ago, Sean. Now, will their arrogance bring them disappointment with that result, do you think?
I'll be honest. This is always a tricky game for me to ever watch because my boy plays at 2:00 every Sunday. So I've watched extended highlights since I've been back. I follow a few good fans who do a bit like you do, like videos walking out the ground. And from what I've heard of it, Spurs are very, very lucky, very, very lucky. But I did say this time last week, it's a bit of an irrelevance for me. Do you know what I mean? Because it was all about Thursday, and we were crap. Sorry to say that, we were poor in Alkmaar. We almost settled for a 1-0 defeat in Alkmaar a little bit.
It's really dreadful, wasn't it?
Yeah. It looked like to me we knew it wasn't clicking, so we almost thought, right, let's take the 1-0.
I mean, to be fair, it takes some doing for Glenn Hoddle on commentary not to be the worst part of the game. The football is actually worse than the Glenn Hoddle commentary, which sums it up.
It wasn't a good game. It was against a team who are not doing great in the league, but are clearly a very good cup side this year because they beat Galatasaray 4-1 in the last round at home, and they've made it to the Dutch Cup final. So, and it's not an excuse, but the pitch was shocking. It's like the pitch I've seen this afternoon, but it wasn't good. So today's game was a bit of an irrelevance, and today's game had to, in my mind, have this coming Thursday in mind a little bit. Like a few are coming back from injury a little bit, but I think they're probably, in all honesty, probably a little bit too rusty to put in a big performance. But apparently today we're quite lucky. Tottenham have had a lot of excuses this year with injuries. We have whether the manager's a lot to blame for that. I'll let you decide that. We don't really know. It probably hasn't helped. He certainly hasn't rotated the team well enough. We mentioned Villa in Europe. He certainly hasn't done that right. An example for that, as I've said before, Jed Spence is nominated for Premier League Player of the Month. Start of the season, he didn't even name him in his Europa League squad. He went for 3 keepers or 4 keepers. Don't know why that was. He said he's making excuses, trying to educate him or teach him, or I don't know. It's just injuries aside, whatever. And I know other teams like yourselves, United, a few others have been poor, Everton. But bottom half is not an acceptable finish for Tottenham at all. No matter what's happened, it's just not good enough. And I do think Ange should probably go now.
Really?
I do. I don't.
So you think? So let's talk about that. So with all the opportunities that they've had to pull the trigger throughout the season, do you not think they'll let it go to the end of the season? Well, I mean, depends on what happens Thursday.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if it goes to the end of the season because it doesn't achieve anything.
Yeah,
not doing that.
Ryan Mason can get his 10 games in charge for his annual 10 games, can't he? Good old Ryan.
Yeah, we've built a very good young squad of players, and it's kind of backfired to a little bit because some of our senior players have been injured and they've had to play. And it's just probably a little bit they're not quite ready. Some of them youngsters have been very good, more because they've had to be good and learn on the job. Like Bergwell's become a very good centre midfielder. Excuse me. But I'm not confident we go through on Thursday. I'm just not. If we do go through, we're going to have to really click to knock out Ajax or Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, good sides.
Yeah, so I think he will go. Sorry, I'm muted. A big cough.
It's all right.
I think he'll go, but it might be the end of the season.
Yeah. Right. I'll do a bit of talking so you can maintain your voice. Have you got a glass of water there? You have. Good. Alkmaar away day memories. Well, I mean, winning 1-0 away at Alkmaar ain't for everyone, is it? So, some people have got to go there and get beat. Do you know what? I think you'll beat them on Thursday. I don't know why. I think you will beat them. You said no, but I've just got a feeling that. Listen, the season depends on it. Otherwise, it's just like us. It's a glorified pre-season at home. I think they'll get behind them. I think you'll beat them personally.
It's the crowd aren't in the best place for the team, as you know. They weren't great at the end today. The pain is like Solanke got clattered by the keeper and come off injured. He started today. I didn't see a lot of him, to be honest, but he's been a huge loss. Romero was very rusty today, apparently. Would not surprise if he goes back to like and plays Gray and Danzo at the back against Alkmaar. Son, he's looked very poor, but I think a lot of it's because he's been overplayed.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So, well, they got what? It's up to the players really. They keep talking that they're with the manager still, but they played an AZ Alkmaar. I mean, they should be knocking them out. I'm not if. Put it this way, the strike force we went with away to Alkmaar, we had Son on the left, who's never been known for being very physical. He's never been a very good striker who plays on the middle. Matthias Tell, who is a talented player, but he's 19-year-old and very lightweight. Doesn't look like a centre-forward to me. Looks more like a wider player. And Brennan Johnson, who my 14-year-old is probably stronger on the ball. And that's the front three. Do you know what I mean? That is just nowhere near physically strong enough against a worked up, aggressive, committed Dutch
team, yeah,
who were just roughed us up a bit, and that's we missed Kulusevski because not many that bump him off the ball ever. Do you know what I mean? But we got to have a bit more bite. Like Son's probably got to start on the left. We need to have Solanke up front just as a presence. Madison's a funny one. He's in and out the side. Also, he hasn't actually he's been injured a little bit, but not loads. 1 minute he starts and he's subbed off. I rate him a lot. He does frustrate me as a player. He turns in the trouble and then falls on the floor looking for free kicks a lot. But we need goals on Thursday. It's as simple as that. The midfield we played today of Bissouma, Bentancur and Sarr. I know Sarr scored, but they're not going to get us 2 or 3 goals to win the game. We probably got to get at least 2 because they will probably get 1. But we've got to go for it. It's simple as that. It's a cup final sort of vibe to it. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah,
I'm not confident. It wouldn't shock me if we scraped through.
Yeah.
But we're not going to turn up and blow them away 3-0, I assure you.
We'll see. And very quickly, before we go, Manchester United won, Arsenal won, and as Peter Drury said, the only winners here were Liverpool, pretty much champions elects now. And United, a little bit, always against the big sides, they'll turn up with a little bit of a performance, and they'll go and lose to like Ipswich next week. Always the way with United this season, Sean.
Yeah. Arsenal fans are having a little bit of a cry because they're having some injuries, aren't they? So they found their excuse.
Diddums.
Yeah, because they struggled to score goals. And I know they hammered. Was it 7 they got in Europe?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd think it's all over now and that Liverpool going to take the title. Unusual for Liverpool fans, even though they're going to walk the league probably, they've even been pretty quiet. Their fans have been quite usually one of the more mental lot, aren't they, for going over the top and all that. They haven't heard not too much from them. I don't know how they're feeling about it all, but Arsenal, obviously, I support their rivals, but I haven't seen all season. I said the other week, have you ever really put them in the title race? I haven't really.
Well, I think they've been put there purely because there's no one else. Purely by default, they've been put there, but not because of their on-pitch activity. No.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying they've had 10 draws.
Have they?
That's far too many if you want to win a league. Do you know what I mean? Their fans were fantasy land the other week trying. They get this fantasy points total. If we win here, we win here, and all this. Next,
they've drawn 10 and lost 3. I mean, that's 13 games where you haven't got maximum points. You can't be doing that.
No. So, but you said we've got 10 games to go.
10 games to go. Yeah.
So there can't have been many champions over the league over the years that have drawn 10 and lost 3. Not for a long time. That's quite a lot of drop points already.
Interestingly, though, guess how many Liverpool have drawn?
Well, I think sometimes teams can draw too many and chuck it away. So I'll say 3 or 4 probably.
7.
Ever? That's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than I expected as well. But they've only lost one and net one.
Yeah, exactly. They've only lost one. Yeah.
But yeah, so you sort of play your percentages there, but
Yeah.
draws can catch you out. Like even when my hometown are in a bit of a relegation battle, Froome, and they're drawing too many, and it just doesn't dig you out of it.
No.
You can get 1 point. All it takes is a team around you to get 3. Then you're a bit knackered. Then it's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But yeah, look, with 10 games to go, to already drawn 10, lost 3. So you, on averages, you'd think come the end of the season they might have lost 5, drawn 12. But you're not winning. You're not winning titles with that sort of results at all. And they haven't. To me, they haven't looked like they're going to win it. I actually think they've gone backwards. There's no surprise at all. They're linked to every single player under the sun, spending another couple of 100 million in the summer. I might be wrong. We might be set at the sun next year and they've won the league or won a champ. They might even win it this year. I don't know. But I just don't see where the team's going, really. They spend 100 million on Declan Rice. They spend God knows how much money on centre-backs. They improve, but they don't seem to jump up a level. I don't know. Like, imagine if like Pep had Rice and he had these two centre halves that Arsenal have got. I'd like to think they'd be kicking on and they go up a gear. I just don't see Arteta taking them up that level, really.
No. And I think it's the mindset and mentality. They are not going to win this league, and they won't win a major trophy under Arteta. I think that, and I don't see a way forward with him if they want to be successful and win those trophies. There we are. That's the Premier League run of the show. I'm going to be back in 40 minutes with our preview because we are joyously graced with the Monday Night Football against Newcastle. So you can rejoin me if you like, with my panel of guests from 7:45. But that's it from us. Sean, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Enjoy the rest of what you've got left of your weekend.
No worries at all, mate, and yourself.
Thank you very much. We will be back next week to go through yet another game week of Premier League action. But until then, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.